Welcome to Vegas Circle Podcast with your hosts, Paki and Chris. We are people who are passionate about business, success, and culture. And this is our platform to showcase the people in our city who are making it happen. And today's guest is just that, yes, man. This is my motivational speaker, man. Today's guest is a true builder of brands, of culture, of community, and from getting major names like Tom Brady, Swiss Beats, Lil Wayne, rocking his clothing line, Residency. He's the co-founder of a Las Vegas Cuban restaurant called
Cubanidad.
Cubanidad. I get my Spanish right.
Yeah, basically it means everything encompassing Cuban. Yeah, everything.
There it is right there, man. So, and he just launched a candy line.
Correct.
I understand, too. We're going to get into also. But let's welcome to the circle,
definitely,
entrepreneur and businessman, Mr. Zachary King.
Appreciate y'all having me.
I appreciate you doing
it.
Yeah, 100%. It's truly a pleasure, man.
Great stuff.
Likewise, man.
But let's jump right in, man. So who is Zachary King?
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, man, it's one of those things like it's kind of constantly evolves. You know, you and I talked offline last week. I just have kind of a track record of, you know, door number one leads to door number two to door number three. And it's not that I'm trying to be a jack of all trades, but it's just like when you're solid and I think people understand like your authenticity as a person, then it kind of opens up opportunities for you and it opens up things where people say, look, like even though it's maybe a different industry, a different entity, it's the same intangibles, right? And so that's kind of who I am as a professional. As a person, man, I'm somebody who I'm not above anything. I don't mind getting my hands dirty. I don't mind, you know, anything that I kind of put my heart into, I'm gonna give 100%. And I'm a person I think, especially in the last 5 years, who's dealt with adversity and understands how to overcome that. And quite frankly, just try to be an inspiration, man. My favorite quotes is like try to be a fountain, not a drain, right? Just trying to really pour into people, and that's a lot of ways how I've been blessed. So that's me in a nutshell. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of different stories along the way. But yeah, if I had to sum it up, that's pretty much it.
Did you used to rap back in the day, man? You sound like you could spit, right?
I would tell you.
No, for
sure. But I would tell you a story, man.
Yeah.
I always wanted, I'm always wanted to be a ghostwriter. That was something.
I
have a notepad with lyrics. I have that type of stuff. I grew up in a musical family. From my grandfather that owned nightclubs. My uncle was Marvin Gaye's bodyguard, and one other uncle was a road manager. So I grew up in a musical family. No, dead ass. And in my granddad's nightclb back in the day. During what they call like the chitlin circuit, he was almost like a financier for a lot of these entertainers. And how he would do it, he'd say, well, if you didn't, you had the money, I'll loan you the money to record the record or whatever. Yeah. But the trade is you just come perform in my nightclub. Right. And so almost like, hey, instead of paying, right. So people like Percy Sledge, James Brown, Tina Turner, kind of when they got started, they would do that. So I always had a musical background. Music was in my family, and my passion is writing lyrics and writing rhymes. But
I can see,
I couldn't tell my mom.
I can see you already on rapping for sure, man. You got that voice. Yeah.
Yeah, do you think you're a person like, kind of going back to the business, like you said with jack of all trades a little bit? Like, are you a person that, you say you follow what's going on? Is that you're following your passion, or are you following like,
So my passion is hustling. My passion, and when I say hustling, like just the art of just the process. Like you have some of these athletes, right? Like you like the Kobe mentality, where like they just love the grind. So I think that's my passion, is the hustle and the grind. And it's not so much a financial goal. It's just the fact that it's inspirational, right? It's like the zero to hero. Or how do you do it again? I have this saying I always say. You do it once, they're going to call it luck. You hit rock bottom and do it again, you're a real hustler. Yeah. And so apart from the money, obviously there's a financial goal, but it's just the mindset of, I did it again. And even within, I scale it. So like, some of my brands, obviously I have a football background, so I have a lot of football players in my stuff, right? But then I say, well, hey, I didn't play hockey. How do I have a hockey collaboration? Or how did I get an F1 deal? I mean, my big ass can't get in a race car. Like, how do I, if you're not a real, like, it can't be luck at what point?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. At what point you're in all these different industries, all these different phases of life, it really just speaks to the art of the hustle. So that's what I'm passionate about. But as far as what we're selling and what we're doing, I think that's can be, I mean, obviously I want to be interested in it, and it's got to be something that makes sense. But I'm kind of open to, if it's the right idea, if it's the right partnership, then that's kind of where almost my recipe to say, hey, I want to commit myself to this. Okay. But I don't do anything that's oversaturated. I'm never going to kind of like, water the organicness of what we're trying to do down. But at the same time, that's kind of what motivates me, is the passion of turning, zero to hero, or something to nothing,
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the residency, the three. Let's first start with that. So how did residency start? And I think maybe we'll start off with the foundation of the three, right?
Okay,
we
for
talk
sure.
about at your office, right? So
okay, and then we're gonna do this a lot, just to warn y'all. We're gonna go back and forth because that's so much of how it's built. Because like I said, everything is room number one, door number two, door number three, right?
And as you're going through it, throw in some sprinkling some beginning times in there.
Yeah, for sure. No, 100%. Okay, so let's start from let's start from 2010. So before I even started residency, I was in the restaurant business, and I still am. But at this point in time, I was full. I was literally at the shop every day, or at different stores every day for cooking, training, hiring, basically. It's a startup business. And people in the restaurant business tell you it's hands-on, it's hard work, especially in those early years. So long story short, this 2010, I had a chicken concept called Chicken Now. And at this particular time,
in Vegas?
Vegas.
Okay.
Nationwide, we had 56. But in Vegas, we had 3 at this particular time. So we started in 07. 2010, I'm at one of my stores, right? Just, hey, Paki, I'm going to give you the day off. Go out to dinner with your wife. Here's a couple $100. I'll run the store for you. Let me just give, like I'm the CEO of the company, but let me just give you a day off, surprise day off.
Yep.
So I gave one of my managers a surprise day off, and I got a surprise. So long story short, my manager ended up stealing from me, right? I could check the safe, a whole 9, caught him stealing. But anyway, this positioned me to basically be the manager. So I'm the co-founder of the company, but now I got to go in here and act like the shift leader, right? Yeah. Or whatever. But I use it as a almost like a beta test for me to essentially like a laboratory. I could try a new product out. I could get good feedback with customers. I'm very unassuming, so people would have no idea that I'm the owner or I'm the person who started this. They would tell me the truth. Oh man, the coleslaw is terrible today. All the macaroni and cheese, what happened? Right? People just honest with me. I'm just taking it in. Smart, I can make changes and also can try new stuff. Or let's try a little spicy, or let's try a little this or that. So long story short, because of my personality, I started to meet people who were in the mall. And the mall employees is where all of my locations were inside mall food courts. And the mall employees are the people that keep the lights on. Those are the people that even if they just buy Coke every day in the course of 10 years, they done paid your mortgage. They done bought a Coke every day for how many days, right? So I had one dude, he was basically a district manager at Tommy Hilfiger, and he would come to my store every day. And we became, customer relationship, but then we became friends, and we just started chopping it up. So that's like 2010, I met him. And I'm older. He kind of always knew that I had a good business mind, or at least was entrepreneurial. So we meet in 2010, and we pretty much were friends from 2010 to 2017. Just kept in touch, kind of like you and I. And so it fast tracked to 2017. We're at a Laker game, and I'm from Tampa, and he was originally from Vegas. So anybody who's moved to Cali has obviously had dealt with cost of living, pricing, right? Gas in San Diego when I was there was $6.
I lived in Cali for 6 years. Right. I already know
$6 10 years ago, right? So people that prices,
you ain't lying,
right? It's like you have to have it's just an adjustment. If you're from there, you're used to it. But if you're not, it's like, man, like how do I keep my same lifestyle up? Obviously with the price increase. So we were at a Laker game chopping it up. We're about 10 drinks in. And he's like, Zach, man, how you doing it? Like, how are you able to do these things or this and that? And I told him, I said, I'm a little bit older. So I said, look, man, you got to have multiple streams of revenue. Even if you have a good paycheck, you just rely on your paycheck, you ain't going to make it. They're already taking 40% of your check off the top. Gas, cost of living, the life you want to live. So I said, you got to have multiple streams. And so he was like, man, well, I got an idea. Everybody got an idea to spend my money or something, new. I'm like, all right, well, we 10 drinks in right now. Talk to me about the idea tomorrow.
Money was the key
right.
I caught that.
Right. And so I said, he had an idea. I want to sell baseball caps. I know it'll work. I said, all right, well, I fried chicken, Mom. I don't know nothing you talking about. But tomorrow, if you're serious, like, let's have this conversation again. And then you're going to have to come to me with a prototype. You're going to come to me with something other than just a conversation. That's the homework you got to do. And I can't promise you anything, but what I can promise you, and if you come with a prototype and it looks solid, then I'll see what I can do. I'm going to wear it. Let's just start having conversations. So unlike most people who I give that pitch to, he took me up. He came, we had a conversation the next day sober, but then after that, he said, all right, here's the hat. We started with the LA hat. And I'm just wearing the hat just like, anybody else. It's 2017. I'm just rocking the hat. People start asking, like, damn, Zach, where you get that hat at? Oh, man, I'll give you $50 right now for that hat. Where can I buy it? Oh, I want yours, right? I was like, all right.
I got something.
I got something because I'm not even trying to sell it, and people are already trying to buy it off my head. And then some people I did, how much do these little tests. So that's just the average person. And I got some homeboys that are super picky or super bougie, or they want to be the first one with it. So I said, well, let me wear it around them. Let me see what they say. And they fell for the bait too. Oh, man, where you get this? This is dope. Okay, perfect. So now we got bougie, picky, rich people trying to buy it. And then we got random strangers who I don't even know trying to buy it. So we got at least a market here. But at the same time, we have a product, but we don't have a brand, right? So a lot of people sell hats. A lot of people, are in clothing lines, but they don't know the power of branding. And so I'm like, all right, now we got something, but we don't get too excited. Now we got to find a way to brand it. So what are we doing? We're selling hats, right? What are we really selling? We're selling cities. We're selling where people are from. We're selling a feeling, right? It's not just a baseball cap or a hoodie or shirt. You're proud to be from Chicago. You're proud to be from Las Vegas. You're proud to be from these different areas. So what's another synonym for city? Resident, residency, resident. So we start playing, and like you come to my office, we whiteboard everything to scale it. Like I'm trying to. It's like the restaurant analogy. I'm trying to sell you food 5 ways: cater, pick up, dine in, to go. I'm trying to sell you the sandwich, right? So it's the same thing we do. So everybody has a house that they have to go to. That's a residence. Everybody's from a city, right? DJs have a residency. Doctors before they have a residency, right? Nurses, right? All these different things. And then you're a resident as a person. You're an individual who's proud, right? So we find all these ways to scale it. And at that time, 2019, I got a musical background, so Ross had that one song, Vegas Residency, and that was just in my rotation, just heavy. And so I was like, all right, this is you got something here. We got a word play, and then that's how we essentially started. So there was a total of 3 of us who kind of co-founded or co-owned residency in the beginning. Really 2 in the beginning, and then my other partner came along from a tech background to help us. But long story short, there's 3 individuals who are essentially kind of the founding group or founding fathers of residency. All of our birthdays kind of match with 3. 3 is my favorite number. I'm big, and good or bad shit gonna happen in 3s. So I'm just big on that, and I'm just big on like trying to create these, call it superstition, but just these core values of a company. And so that's how we started. That was the initial pop, and that was kind of how we at least branded the company to begin with. And I'll be super transparent. We looked on IG, and somebody in India had residency spelled the same way, the normal way. So like, all right, IG is important. Like Instagram is important. You might have a dope name, but if you can't get access to it, doesn't matter. Even if we DM this guy, he wasn't gonna sell it to us no way. So anyway, I was like, screw it. We're gonna change that second E. Exactly. And so that was the birth of the company. That's how we got started, and then how we essentially came with products and then created a brand. Our first 3 cities were Las Vegas, LA, and San Francisco. We all had roots in Vegas. My co-founder partner, Angelo, he lived in LA and still does. And then we just kind of did the triangle offense, right? Like, San Fran is obviously a great market. Let's just kind of figure these 3. Later on that year, my mom worked for the census as a national director, and so we hit up mom. Like, hey, mom, give me the demographics, give me the how much the annual gross revenue for people that live in these areas, and we thought that would get it to pop. Just picking big cities. Well, let's just pick Philly. Let's pick Houston. People got money in New York. Let's do New York, right? Like all these different. Since we're doing cities, that's kind of what we wanted to do to expand. But what we realized from a marketing standpoint, just because you got a cool logo or a big city, you need somebody to push that needle. It's from a hype standpoint, especially with fashion. But that was kind of the founding stages of residency, and that's kind of from 2017, that conversation at that Laker game, which led to where we're at. So what I'm basically saying to people out there, customer who bought chicken, watched me the whole time. He saw me be solid. He saw me, we were just nothing but just a customer business relationship. He kind of, befriended me, or we became friends, and then now that led to something that's quite frankly the biggest thing I got going on now.
I mean, that's a great story.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things I think people don't realize. Like, I got one of my homeboys, he's Taiwanese, and I've known him since I was 13, and I joke with his dad because we got in business together. I was like, I've been on a 30-year interview. You met me as a kid at 13 years old at your crib.
Did I meet him at your office?
Yeah, you met him.
Okay,
right? And this one time, this dude had as many stores as the owner of Panda Express. Like, they were going neck and neck. But my mentor, he was in the food court business, and obviously who goes to the mall, whereas Panda Express, has transitioned to outside the mall. But the point I'm trying to make, at that time, he and Andrew Tang were going neck and neck from stores. But I was on a 30-year interview, and I didn't even know that. So I tell people, like, look, man, you never know. This conversation may sound like nothing, but it may lead to something later on.
Yeah, 100%.
That's kind of a little background about the residency.
I'm glad you broke all that down, man.
Yeah, that was great.
I got so many questions.
But
You
Sean,
go
I
ahead,
to be
Paki,
long
go
with it,
ahead.
but I had to give you the core of how you start, because in anything, that foundation is crucial.
So Brandon, right?
Right.
You got something very special, because I don't know how to, I'll just be honest, how the hell you do it. So
okay,
you might have a Tom Brady.
Correct.
You might have, I don't even know all the different athletes, musicians that are wearing. How are you able to find out they are wearing your stuff?
Okay, so in the beginning,
you get pictures of everything.
For sure. And I'm going to give you all transparent answers. That's just me. I don't mean to be long-winded, but I give people the game, right? So the first thing is this. It's so much psychology in it. So before we talk about a Tom Brady or Lil Wayne or whoever the case may be, I think Swiss or whoever, insert name, the first thing is you really just have to do the psyche of people. So much of it is just common sense. So let's just take Trent Williams, for example. It's kind of one of the marketing people that kind of pushed this needle.
That's a football.
Football. Yep,
okay.
football player. Yep, highest paid, just so people don't. Right, and we're gonna talk about this. Like a lot of times, people don't know football players. If I say,
you
I know
know
Trevor
football.
right, but,
Yeah,
but very few. We call it the helmet syndrome.
I don't know football.
Right.
I ain't gonna lie to you.
But just for the people who
Yep.
do or do not know Trent, he's the highest paid contract person ever in NFL history besides a quarterback. So long story short, Trent has made more money than anybody in NFL history other than the quarterback position. And there's no offense, you don't know him. A lot of people don't. We call it the helmet syndrome. You know, in basketball, you see their face, right? But football, you don't. So the point I'm trying to make is just the research in that. So now let's just say now that we know who Trent is, or we find out who Trent is. Well, Trent went through brain cancer, right? It's called sarcoma. He had that at the time when he and I connected, or I was reaching out. So we understand, if you got brain cancer, what are you going to have? You're going to have a surgery, obviously, in your head. What are your vein? You know what I'm saying? All these different things. You want to be thought of. Cancer is a low moment,
serious,
right? So I'm just walking you through the psychology of, we ain't just sending people random hats. We're doing the research of what they're going through, what they like, what styles they like, and then we break it down even further. Okay, well, now let's just pretend Trent normal. He's fashionable. He's a big dude. He's got a Ferrari collection. He's not your average big guy. He likes wearing custom stuff. He likes being exclusive. And in the locker room, he's that alpha. So a lot of the stuff you'll see with fashion is, if you can create the wave, or just with anything in life, it's monkey see, monkey do. Very few people are visionaries and leaders, and a lot of people, unfortunately, are followers. So if you can create that wave, that's what we do. We're trying to create a wave. We call it hype, but it's really a movement. And people have to understand that that's what we're trying to embrace. So before we send anybody anything, that's the first thing we do.
Yep.
You got to do the homework, right? If you got a fresh lineup and you just got a haircut, you might not wear a hat today, but you got on a T-shirt.
Like you see how he said that. You see how he said that. He's smart.
Right. She offered you a hat. Nah, I'm good. I got a clean cut. I'm already wearing a shirt. So
you 100%
it's
right.
common sense, but so many people just overlook, because what they're trying to do, and it's nobody's fault, but they're trying to push what they want on somebody.
Yeah.
They're like, well, I got a hat company. Paki, put on the hat. Well, is that really what he wants to do? You know, some
people don't rock hats.
Right. So many bosses don't think like customers. So that's what we do before we do anything. And then now after we do that research, then we scale it and we service the person, because a lot of times when people get what they want, then they fall off. We're not just sending somebody a hat one time. We're continuing that relationship because we appreciate what they've done for us. So that's kind of like my scouting report. I call it ghetto marketing, but in a lot of ways it's genius, right?
Yeah.
Because it's that guerrilla marketing, it's that hand-to-hand, it's that compoundedness of what we do. And then this is important too, before we go on the next question, is I call it strength in numbers. So it's like a Roman Empire mentality, that type of warfare, where Trent needs to see you working. Trent is saying, you know, what the Memphis does, but Jay-Z, I'm already rich. You not rich. So I already got $400 million, Zach. I put on your hat. Now, are you done working? Like, I'm already where you want to be. I need to see you working. I need to see that I'm not the only person. And it's not about being rich or famous or rich or poor. It's just strength in numbers. If Trent drives to the game one day and he sees 100 people wearing my hat, he's like, all right, we working. It's not just the superstar doing all the work. And I think that's where a lot of people like, oh, I got, the Easter Bunny in my hat. Yeah, well, the Easter Bunny need to see Bugs Bunny and everybody else, because otherwise they're going to feel like, well, damn, I'm the only person wearing this. I need the confirmation that you're not just relying on me for a free meal ticket.
Yeah.
And that's what we've done essentially on the sports scene. So
when did y'all connect? Like what year did y'all connect?
So a lot of people, our birth was 2019. So you got to think a lot of this was pandemic.
6 years.
Right.
Yep.
So the world was shut down. A lot of this was cold calling and DMs. A lot of this was just constant, just relentless communication. I can't tell you, I used to probably do 100 cold calls a day, whether that's a call, or email, or text, or whatever. But the first answer to your question is, how do we find out? In the beginning, bro, I used to just scroll. Like my mama tell, I used to just sit there and I used to just scroll and look for content, literally just spend hours praying somebody would wear my hat. Nowadays, if somebody will text me something, right? Or if a fan club will post it, or ESPN will post it, or even the player themselves will tag me like, hey, Zach, look.
Yeah, I'm rocking.
So now it's a little bit more like, like just it kind of funnels to me. But in the beginning, man, I used to just pray, like, please, my third cousin who I don't even talk to would just post a hat, something.
Yeah.
But nowadays,
because the clothing business is one of the hardest businesses.
It's tough.
And you're in
it's
food
tough.
and
correct
clothing, which is very tough.
Correct. So that's how we find out who's posting and who's not.
Yeah.
Okay. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Like it's almost, you talk about growing business, right, and building a brand. That's very one thing. A lot of people try to push that brand, but what I'm seeing hearing you talk is that your insights are very intuitive.
Correct.
Like you have a very to your point, you see Paki's face, you see me wearing a hoodie.
Correct.
Like you're just very insightful to what's going on.
It's right in front of you, man. And I credit that to just how I was raised, right? My uncle had a barbecue restaurant, and literally anybody in the family restaurant business would tell you pretty much slave labor, right? My uncle maybe bought me a pair of Jordans once a year, but tips he would take if it was a slow night. I basically was free labor. So anyway, because of that, when you're serving people, you get to see, well, damn, did he finish his food, or you know what, this and that. You get to see things, and it's directly influenced by your tip. Man, if I come around here 3 more times, you start to pick the psyche of people, especially in the restaurant business. You see how many customers a day. I mean, so many people just sit there and just go through the motions, but if you really pay attention, people will tell you. Like I used to tell my employees, if a woman comes with 3 kids, offer them a kid's meal. Pretty girl walks in with a yoga outfit, Lululemon, offer her a salad. Hey, man, we have fresh salad wraps. Big guy comes in there, hey, chicken wings. Right? Like, it's common sense, but people just like, well, I get off at 5, let me just sit here. Yeah, well, you can stay till 5 and not get tipped. Or you can listen and understand, and now you leave with a pocket full of tips, and now you getting paid twice. Or maybe it's a great relationship. Hey, I meet somebody who's a business owner, and they own a law firm, and they see me as a cashier, but they think I'd be a great, a paralegal or something, right? And so people just don't understand. Like I use the quote, like the harder I work, the luckier I get. But a lot of it is just my spirit when I'm working. I'm like, I'm not like, goddamn, like I'm really bringing it to the table. So that's how we essentially scout the person out. The Tom Brady example, or just to be super transparent. Let's be honest. Tom Brady, he don't, even though he's the owner of the Raiders now, he's not gonna wear that pirate. Think about it. If you really sit down, just before we how, when, who.
You're an honest dude.
I'm being real. Yeah. It's Tom Brady, clean cut white guy. You think he really gonna wear that pirate? It's a Cholo logo. It's a Santa. It's very dark. It's Raiders, and I love the Raiders, but it's one of those things where, like, is he really gonna put that pirate on him? Just from an aesthetic. I don't think I've seen him wear it yet. Come on, stay with me. Okay. From an aesthetic. Now let's scale it a little further. He played 20-something years.
Patriots.
How many times did he beat the damn Raiders, right?
Like 5,000 times.
Right. If you're really a Raider fan, you really can't stand Tom Brady as a player. Now you're hoping he brings something to the table as an owner, but as a fan, player to player, you really can't stand Brady, and Brady knows that. So it's almost not authentic to him, right? You kicked the Raiders' ass for 20 years, and now you're walking around with the Pirate.
Might have been a fan forever.
You get what I'm saying? So it's almost like he needs an excuse. He still wants to rep Las Vegas. He still wants to rep his ownership. He's still proud, but that's a business conversation. That's not who, who he kind of is. There we go. So now we just give him the perfect excuse. We got a clean-cut logo. There's really no team affiliation. You can kind of play neutral, but you obviously are repping Las Vegas. You also have something with that. You see what I'm saying? It's a psychology. It's not just, hey, Tom, here's your package. And then, quite frankly, it's aesthetics. When my packages arrive, they look like they supposed to be here. Even if you didn't order it, this looks like, okay, well, at least somebody, somebody sent something. It's not just a brown plastic bag or something that looks out of place. So it's really the whole branding of the packaging, the product, and the psyche that goes into how do you basically target these individuals. And like I say, rich people love free stuff. Everybody likes to be thought of. A millionaire wants you to treat him to lunch. A famous person wants to be remembered. You'd be surprised. I mean, people got feelings too.
Yeah, and
you know what I'm saying? They got feelings too, and a lot of times they feel 100%. Like they've not been thought of or appreciated for whatever reason. By family, I mean, none of my family members buy a hat. Or a Cuban sandwich yet. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's just me. I mean, imagine somebody on that level with that kind of coin. They've got a lot of horror stories of where they've been let down by people close to them.
I know Chris has a question, but I want to add on one real quick. I remember when Steven Jackson mentioned that with his original clothing company, he said the problem that you have is family.
Correct.
Family and friends. None of them buy that.
At all. What's the quote they tell you?
They want you to give them the
correct.
stuff, not pay for it. Remember he was talking about, and I know you got a question too.
But the quote is if you're waiting on family or friends to support your business, you ain't going to have one.
That makes a lot of sense. We need a Zachary King book post to live by.
I'm trying to tell you. When he come on, I'm just going to shut up and let him talk, man. I love it.
My question is, obviously with that intuitive insights and to be able to make decisions and, target people. But when you're building a brand, right, you have to generalize statements a lot. You have to be able to target a bigger audience. What case do you try not to over adjust? Like, do you ever think about like how do you navigate like building a business where you can't make 1,000 different types of hats, right? You have to,
so it's a great question. So you almost it's almost like this balancing act of 3 or 4 things. So just stay with right. So it's an easy question, but it's complex. So the first thing is before we need to hype. because we
energy behind
because
that.
people we got to admit that why do you like Versace? Why do you wear Rolex?
Yeah.
Why do you like Mercedes? Why do you want a Chanel bag? Somebody has set the standard from a quality, branding, hype standpoint. The Rolex gonna tell the time just like the Seiko, right? But you feel difference with that Rollie on your arm, right? You feel different with that. Something in your mind psychologically has programmed you to think that this is where I need to be, right? This is something that I strive for. Why do you want a G-Wagon?
Or what I want to be part of.
Correct.
Yep.
So that's first. We got to create the standard of branding or hype. Then now we understand, well, everybody can't afford, a G-Wagon. Everybody can't afford, a Paddock, right? So now it's like, well, I've got to have some entry-level products. Even Bentley's got an entry level, right? You got to have some entry level products that don't water down your brand, but to your point, they make it accessible. So we have what we call entry level products. Our entry level products would be like our market or our mission, or all our hats or products have names. So it's almost like that's your Bentley GTC. That's your $35 hat. That's your entry level Bentley. But you're in a Bentley, you feel good. Same thing, you got a hat on. It's not the $200 hat Trent has on. But hey, man, Trent, I'm repping too. So you don't want to be so basically be exclusive to people where you weed out people, or you make people feel that they can't afford it, or they're not. More importantly, that they're not wanted. It's not that they can't afford it, because eventually, if there's enough hype, they'll save up and they will afford it. They'll want it bad enough, right? But you got to make them feel inclusive, right? Where they feel like, man, I'm a part of this movement. I know I'm not Trent. I know I don't have the $200 hat on, but I got the $40 hat on, and I still feel a part of this movement. And I also think, too, a lot of it is the individual co-founder or the person doing the marketing. I don't big-time anybody. So, you go to 49's facility, the man at the guard gate is going to have on my hat. Is it the $200 Fred Warner Trent hat? No, it's not. But when Trent pulls up in that Ferrari, Trent sees him, he's got a hat on, Trent has a hat on. I still feel like I'm a part of this family, even though they might be a big dog in the family. That's my cousin. That's my big bro. It's that type of camaraderie we're trying to build. And like I told y'all in the beginning, strength in numbers. At the end of the day, the $200 hat, the $35 hat, still got 100 people wearing the hat. It's still 100. It's still 100 visuals of his bodies. It's just like the club. His body's doing it. Where it's like, man, do we really care? If I turn the lights off in Dre's, I can't tell if it's $200 hat or $35, right?
No clue.
No, not at all.
No clue.
And still that feeling. I feel like I'm a part of that. And more importantly, we're striving to be to the next person. So you need entry level, but you need hype.
I love when you talk about the psychology side of it, because people don't realize so much. That's what brands do with Apple and everything else. It's all psychology.
Correct. So, we call it, after we do the psychology, we call it ecosystem. So we talked about it at the office when you came. That phone goes out right now. Apple has done such a good branding job. You will blame your phone. Man, my phone tripping. Man, it's not Apple. Damn, my phone is tripping.
Hilarious.
You ain't never gonna blame Steve Jobs. That phone gonna break. You're gonna go right back and get another one. And God forbid it's the Apple Watch, if it's the iPad.
I got everything.
You're in this. We call it. You basically are trapped in this ecosystem. You don't even know it or care.
No, I know it. I know it because I'm paying for it.
You care. But you don't even care because you enjoy it so much. I mean, you just do it. No, but you got Apple too. Because
I'm in the ecosystem.
He wasn't. Yeah, you weren't before, right?
Somebody sucked me right in. You're like, man, I don't even feel like talking. Get this person on the group chat. Like, I don't even feel like talking. I don't even feel like talking to this person. Or it's so hard to to send stuff or messages or whatever, right? And no offense to Android users out there, but that's the feeling, right? You're stuck in this ecosystem, and
that's what got me. Everybody talking shit about me being the green guy.
So Brett watched the show, because the group text with him.
I'm like, damn, I caved and bought all the. I got Apple Watch, everything.
Yeah, and then
that's interesting.
When you get in the ecosystem, like I bought cars, I ain't even test drive. I'm already in the ecosystem.
Just because you love it.
I just love it. I'm already sold before I pull up to the lot. I'm already sold on. You already sold on the phone.
Yeah, I got two of them. It's funny. It's funny to say that. Let's talk about the hospitality side.
Please,
right?
yes, sir.
So you said we can talk about anything.
100, you think 100%.
Can you tell the public how many restaurants that you own?
Right.
You don't realize how many you own.
So let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
Like my family, so we start 20
You've
years.
Been in 20, okay,
20 years and 20 seconds, right? So long story short, my family was in the restaurant business since the 1940s. You pretty much have two homeboys.
Since the 40s?
40s. My grandfather,
I didn't know that.
for nightclubs, refrestaurants. Like my grandfather was ahead of his time. His name was Moses White. He's from Tampa. They got a street named after him, the whole nine. But long story short, he before integration, he did all of that to kind of start the base. And so that's my bloodline, my mama's father. And then you fast forward, 40, 50 years later, here I come around, and my best friend, who's Taiwanese, his family was in the food court franchising or food court restaurants. Started in the 80s, both in Tampa. So you got my grandfather here, you got two different families, two different backgrounds. But long story short, when I went to University of Florida, knew I wasn't going pro. And this individual, his name is David Wu, but he was like my father, right? I mean, that's who he was, right? And I was a person where I didn't really grow up with a father in my house. So I call it like, make your own daddy. I take some of Paki's daddy, I take some of your daddy, I take some of her daddy. You don't even know I'm stealing your daddy. I'm just throwing in my pot, and I'm cooking my own daddy. And so I'm taking all these things and making my own daddy. And he was one of those individuals, right? I was always like a sponge, and he knew that, right? And people that kind of come from nothing love people that come from nothing. It's almost like a hustler spirit. It's hard to, he's never told me this. We've never chopped it up. It's a vibe, man. You can just tell when somebody's about that action. So he knew I wasn't going pro, all that stuff. He's like, man, what you gonna do? I was like, man, I really have no idea. He's like, well, I got an idea. Let's take your grandfather's chicken recipe and what my uncles had, and let's put it in a fast casual concept. He's like, there's a concept that you don't know about, but I want you to go to Baton Rouge at the time, Mall, Louisiana, and he's like, I want you to see what Raising Cane's is doing. I want you to see. This was 2006, 2007. He's like, I'm just leave tomorrow, go see what they're doing. I just want you to see. He's like, I've been in the food court game 30 years. I never seen anybody give Chick-fil-A a run for their money. But in this mall in Louisiana at that particular time, let's say Chick-fil-A was doing 1.3, Raising Cane's was doing 1.7. So he's like, I want you to see the concept just so you can understand what we're trying to accomplish. Now, you'll take your grandfather's chicken recipe, but we're going to add more of a home-style flavor. We're going to have the macaroni and cheese. We're going to have the banana pudding. We're going to have the Kool-Aid. We're going to have the seasoned salt on the fries. And so that was our, essentially, Chicken Now was that concept that we birthed. That was 2007. And essentially, I'll be straight up with everybody, it pretty much was a gamble. He basically bet on me just like, he bet, our store cost $400,000. He bet $400,000 just like a shooting dice. But the reason why he did it was because in the food court, it's like Monopoly. Let's say you go in the food court and there's 5, 6 restaurants there. Well, let's say you own 4 of them. Well, if you don't put another concept in there, Chick-fil-A is going to come in there. Panda Express is going to come in there. McDonald's is going to come in there. So he basically, and it's no hard feelings, he used me as a pawn where it's like, look, I already got 4 restaurants on this block.
So
I own 4, right? Because I got the Japanese, the Chinese, the teriyaki, I got those. But if I can find a way to put one more house on this block, then Chick-fil-A don't come in. Because if Chick-fil-A comes in, they're going to take $300,000-$400,000 away from my Chinese restaurant. They're going to take, it's just simple marketing. That's Chick-fil-A. You don't even look at the Chinese place anymore. You don't even look at the Japanese place anymore. So he's like, at least if Zach goes in there, he might lose, but he's a buffer to the, so he used me as a pawn.
I get it.
Well, what happened was when we opened, I went in there and showed my ass. Our first store was in Orlando Prime Outlet Mall, and we did 1.3. So now you use me as a pawn, but really now I'm big dog. So now he's like, holy shit! This was a buffer, but he done
hit a home run. Home runs, yeah.
It was kind of a facade. Why were we able to do that? Orlando tourist market, high price point. That's how we were able to get there. But anyway, it was enough for us to springboard that company. So we opened up 20 stores in basically a year and a half.
Oh, damn.
So I'm 23, hiring people.
A year and a half?
Yeah. Because he had so many contacts inside the mall. You got to think, I've already got 400 stores before you show up. I got landlords. I got people on every block who feel the same pain. Man, yeah, please.
You need me.
There we go.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, I would pay the rents that Chick-fil-A wouldn't pay. Chick-fil-A said, man, I ain't paying this. I'll go on the street. So the landlords liked us too. We would pay the exclusive rents. We would open up on Sunday. Chick-fil-A goes and say, nope, I'm paying percentage rent and I ain't opening up on Sunday. God bless you.
Yeah.
That malls don't want to hear that. Like I had a store in Venetian, our rent was 30 G's a month. We would pay those aggressive rents even if we knew it was a gamble, because to be honest with you, I didn't have the overhead Chick-fil-A did. Chick-fil-A needs to make $1 million to break even. I didn't. So I had a different bottom line. But anyway, that's how we got started. That birthed my restaurant career. So that group is HIG Management, and collectively, right now, like I said, pandemic wiped out a lot of our stores, recession, and honestly, people just not going to the mall anymore. We still have about 30 open, but we've been in the mall business, but we've been very selective as to where we go, where we open, and a lot of times we're still playing that same game. So, like for example, I got a couple stores in Santa Anita Mall in Arcadia. We'll have the Chicken Now, and we also put our crunchies inside the mall too. So we can co-brand that labor, we can co-brand that training. You get off at 4 at Chicken Now, we'll go to crunchies at 5. So we can basically make it a little bit more sense. But at the same time, it's selective places where we know there's foot traffic. People are still going to the mall in certain instances, but not to the level that it is right now.
Got it.
Now, locally in town, that same group, HIG Management, which I'm a part of, has Crunchies. We don't have the one on Spring Mountain, but all the others in town, and we're trying to franchise that concept nationwide. Then we have Cubanidad, which is our Cuban concept. We have 3 locations of that. Total BN Tiki, which is at Uncommons.
Got some great drinks over there too.
100%. Yeah, they do a great job, man. Our staff is there, and we'll talk about how that's been popping. But then also Earth Cafe, we don't have the one at the Wynn, but my brother Leon was able to kind of get the rights on Commons, and we opened up at Green Valley.
Okay.
And then last but not least, we just brought Fat Sal's, 2 more. We brought Fat Sal's to Fremont Street. Leon, his mindset was a lot of
Fat Sal's?
Fat Sal's is a sandwich shop. They originated in LA.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The big fat sandwiches, they have all the type of stuff. It's kind of an LA staple.
Okay.
But his logic, my brother Leon's logic was if I can, a lot of these people are moving from Cali here. If I can bring the Earth Cafes, the Fat Sal's, it's gonna resonate.
I love Earth Cafe, by the way.
Yeah. And then the last but not least is our Paki concept, which we'll talk about it. We used to be a Mercadito, which was our sandwich shop, but we flipped it into a Poke Mart LV. It's at Uncommons too.
I was gonna say, is that Uncommons?
Yeah, it's at Uncommons too.
Okay.
So those are.
Okay.
I don't think I'm missing anything here. But
yeah,
like I
keep you busy.
Yeah,
man.
but it's a lot, and I'm
it.
able to. It's 2 different groups. There's a hat group, and then there's a restaurant group, and I have a great team. We have great employees, chefs, and to be honest with you, man, like I'm not as hands on as I used to be from an operational standpoint, more just like an investment standpoint. But they do rely on me for a lot of marketing or
you the mouthpiece.
People pulling up that type of relationship side. But don't get it twisted. I mean, if I got to go in there and make a Cuban sandwich, I will. But it's one of those things, man. It's we've been blessed, especially these last couple of years, because a lot of restaurateurs are catching hell, man, to be able to expand, and quite frankly, be able to bring some of these concepts to life, man. So it's been a blessing. But yeah, that's the restaurant side.
Good for you. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about, because I know Earth Cafe gets a lot of the shine, but just real quick on Total BN. Right?
Yes, sir.
How hard is it to be a bar next to a Durango?
Correct.
Or next to, you know what I mean? Like, how are you guys able to make that work?
True story, right? It starts all with friendships, man. So my brother Leon has a great track record with people like Matty Salazar, Kurt. There's a couple other people that kind of handle the day-to-day stuff with that. And why they've been so beneficial is all these people have a background in nightlife.
I met Matty before.
Matty, he was at One Oak for a while. He's out. I think he's now something to do with Liv. I don't know his exact role, but long story short, he's got that lifestyle, that nightlife background. And so we go back to Brandon, right? The vodka soda gonna be the vodka soda even if I drink it at the house. But Matty's bringing some of the magic. He's bringing the DJs. He's bringing the different specialty drinks that you're talking about, the themed drinks, right? And so that's the thing. And quite frankly, that area, even though there's a lot of competition in that area, a lot of people live in that area. But we'll talk about this. I ain't scared of competition. I'm scared of customer awareness. If you don't even know who the hell I am or know what I
That's
am,
a problem.
I'm more scared of that. I'll compete who has the best chicken. I'll compete who has the best sandwich. But if you don't even eat a sandwich, that's hard to change mindset. But anyway, the nightlife people have been huge from an industry standpoint because they're bringing friends that they've been friends with 20, 30 years. So they're bringing all that to life. But that's how we've been able to do it, and it's been a blessing, man. I think we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary over
I like
there.
that spot, man.
Yeah, it's a dope spot.
Cool. I went to.
We don't have food. We don't have
drinks,
food, but the drinks on point, man. And it's one of those things. So anyway, it's been a blessing.
That's awesome, man. Oh, that's right. We went to what's his name? JK. He was killing it. He plays all the
Yep.
On piano,
100%.
and he killed it one night.
Yeah, and that's
the
thing too, bringing acts right where it's still that local kind of intimate vibe. Of course, there might be bigger spots and stuff like that, but it's not the same. It's not the same sauce.
Yeah, so you might just have a drink with your spouse or whatever.
It's a nice little spot. Honestly, just local.
Correct.
You have to be on the strip. And just get in,
100%.
enjoy yourself. And
during the week, like that's during the week, like the perfect. Go have a good drink after work.
I mean, seriously, it's perfect. It's perfect.
A lot of people out here been going on date nights. That's the new thing. They go. Y'all been there. I'm talking about a random, like it's the first date.
Oh, the first date. Okay, I didn't know that.
I'm talking about the random.
That's a smart place to do it.
Yeah, they do it there because God forbid I could pop to Durango if I don't feel like messing. It's an in and out spot.
That's a good. That's smart.
It's kind of dark in there. You can kind of So I don't know. That's what they tell me, man. I don't know.
That's very good. Let's talk about Woormz a little bit. So you got the candy company.
Yeah.
You in the hardest
industry. So what happens is like we meet, we vibe, and then you see Zero to Hero. You see Get Rich or Die Trying, and you're like, damn, Zach, This is something I always wanted to do. Damn, I always wanted, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I'm not trying to just constantly just do these uphill battles, but like I don't know. That's just kind of
But you make them work. That's
correct, right?
Impresses
correct.
me.
So Woormz was another business partner who saw what I did with restaurants and saw what I did with residency, especially residency, because he's a huge 49er fan. So when he saw that, he was like, "My God!" And he was like, "Zach, I got this candy and this and that." I said, same thing, bring the prototype. Let me try to work. Let's see it. Can't promise you nothing. Got to sleep on it. Got to pray on it. Got to give it to a couple people, and we will see. But I said the first thing we need with this, we need a branded packaging. That's the first thing we need because it's candy, especially people with food.
Mm-hmm.
They're very particular.
Yeah.
They want to see, right? So you got to think, I'm in a restaurant game. So a lot of it's just presentation. How many restaurants charge you an arm and a leg and the food ain't even that good, but it's the presentation or it's the service or something. So what he did was he took me up on it. We came with some prototype bags. And you'll see this, man. A lot of times I call it like, like Jay's got this one line, like he's like, I got that shit on a rope. It's like a yo-yo. Like I sell it. I don't want to sell it. I take it back. So what I did was every 49er, before every big game, a lot of times I go to 49er locker room, and I use that as my test market. And before, let's say, NFC Championship, I got 200 hats laid out. So I know my hats are up. That's $1 million baby. Now let me just throw some other stuff on the table. So I just one day, here we go. Yeah, I got the hats laid out. And they're like, damn, Big Zach, what's this? I said, oh, this is some candy. Try it. Let me know what y'all think. I got the candy there.
Psychology.
Right?
Yeah.
They take the candy before they take the hat.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
People coming back. Big Zach, what's your Venmo? I'm going to send you some money for the candy. I said, ain't no charge, none of this. I said, where can I get some? I said, it ain't for sale, man. That's just for y'all. Just, see what y'all want to do. Here we go.
Smooth.
So now, then I leave, and keep the stoic face. Like, no, I don't no pressure. That's light. And so when they hit me, they're like, man, I'm like, man, we got a winner. Because I'm not even trying to sell it. I'm not even trying to sell it. I'm talking about, Trent, Debo wanting a case of candy, right? Like
That's crazy.
I'll give you $1,000. Send me a whole crate of candy.
That's crazy.
All right, now we got something. And then what I also saw about the candy is it's consumables. That T-shirt, if you're a fanatic, you might have 20 T-shirts in your closet. But very few people are that type of shopper. But with a food item, it's consumable. You're going to have to buy more. You don't have to buy a new T-shirt.
Right.
You don't have to buy a new hoodie. You don't have to buy a new hat. Very seldom.
Chris does that all the time. He buy like the 10
There
of
you
the
go.
same ones.
That is true.
And
I am
he'll
that
do
guy,
it if he
though.
likes it. Same
That's
thing.
it.
You buy
I'm like
right because
10%.
you don't want to.
Correct.
You want. You
But
like
let's
it.
be real. If that's a black hoodie or whatever, you could wear that 3 or 4 times and people wouldn't even know this is the same hoodie. Or like we
100%.
see it a lot with hats. People buy the black and white hat, and I got the hat and I'm good. I might buy another one in 6 months, or if it gets sweaty or really bad, I'll get another one. But with food items, you're gonna have to get another cup of coffee. You're gonna have to get another, right?
That's very true.
That's what I saw on the consumable side. What I also saw that they didn't know on the restaurant side is people now shopping with their wallet, so are eating with their wallet. So what I mean is, they get that candy. Is it the healthiest thing? Is it a full meal? Of course not. But it's gonna handle that hunger, right? So a $3-4 bag of candy is better than going to even McDonald's right now and spending $20. Is it a full meal? Of course not. But it's where we from is these little
Snacks.
It gets me through.
Project
Gets me
Babies gets us through. Like this is just
Snacks.
it's something to hold me, and then the craving. And a lot of these athletes, they have sugar cravings, they have those type of things. So that's what I was able to see just from a branding standpoint. But yeah, now what happened? The problem is they ate it so fast. Man, Zach, send some more. Well, ESPN caught people with a hat. Tom Brady ain't send me a picture. ESPN caught Tom Brady. ESPN caught Derek Carr. But if somebody eats a candy, there's no footage of that. So I was like, well, damn, Fred Warner, like I'm giving you the candy, like I'm damn Debo, like can you take a? I don't want to ask for a picture, but I'm like, come on, man, you ate 2 cases of candy. Can I at least get something, right? Yeah. But I couldn't get it. Yeah. So what we started to do, and it's been done before, Rap Snacks and other people have done it. We brand our product with the essentially the player's logo. It's almost like a comic book type approach where Trent has his own logo or so-and-so would have their own design, and that design is on the actual packaging, right? You've seen dispensaries and people do it like that where they brand it, obviously, right? But that's how we do it from a candy standpoint. So whether you give me a shout out or not, hey, Paki, your name, your logo's on here. Yeah. So I don't care whether you post or not.
And you want to support it. You see a logo.
There you go. So that's how we've even just that brand, that bag is on the table. What's that? So that's how we've able to done it, at least get it popping. Now, everything has a different thing, right? So that's the thing people need to realize. Like, it's the same intangibles, but it's still a little different flavor. So I was stuck, man. Like, damn, I was like, how am I going to pull this off? To your point, it's a very oversaturated market. I had one of my investors, he came to me. He's a local guy here. And he said, man, Zach, I love you to death, but I don't know how you're going to do it. Like, I've seen you do water to wine, but I don't know how you're going to do this. and he brought his baby to the office. I said, let him start crying. Just let him start crying. And if the gummy worm stop, he said, you got my check. I'm sold. I said, now let him cry right now. That's to shut him up as a kid. But let him go and play AAU basketball. Or let's have a daughter. Now we fundraising. So I hit him with, let's stop the tears as an infant. But then when he starts to play for Vegas Elite, other places, let's create a fundraising model like Girl Scout cookies, like Boy Scout, the popcorn. Let's make money off this, right? Because with my worm price, it's positioned as a premium candy. So if you go online, it's $9. And the reason why it's $9 is because I got to pay for shipping. Yep. When you charge customers for shipping, you kill conversion. But on the fundraising side, I can wholesale it to you for $2, $3, and you got $9 of wiggle room as long as you don't go over my online price. So that's the fundraising model. So what we started to do with different entities, right now we're in, like, I think 5 Vegas schools, but it's that fundraising type model. Hey, I'm going to give you a box of candy for $60, but you can make $300 off this box. Same thing been done to you, Little Becky, Girl Scout cookies. It's the same thing, but that was the kicker. And what I'm really trying to do is just, once again, strengthen numbers. Yeah, I went to University of Florida, 60,000 people at University of Florida. I ain't seen 60,000 people since I left University of Florida. Schools have a bunch of people. So even if you're not even making that much money on the margins on the candy,
and
Liberty's got 4,000 people. Southwest got that 2,500 people. Clark, they got how many kids are there that are seeing your candy? And eventually that fundraising box is going to run out. And then that's when they're going to say, well, I want to order my own candy. I don't want to wait on Little Becky to promote the candy. I want to buy my own. And then that's when you got to pay the toll.
I think I'm still like a fan of Cadbury. Yeah. That same model.
But anyway, that's
when I was a kid. Cadbury, the chocolate, the caramel.
The fundraising model is what we did there. So every entity has its different flavor. Like if you put me on the spot, the Cuban sandwiches, okay? Like insert concept. Every flavor, every concept has a different flavor, but it's the same intangibles of how to hustle and how to promote it to people.
And you explain it so well, man.
Yeah,
that's the
great.
hard thing to do, man, to be able to explain it.
Man.
But
if I can't talk it as an owner, then how the hell am I going to get you to buy it as a customer?
Yeah, that's real.
It's tough. And if I don't believe it, if I wouldn't have my son fundraise this, then why am I going to tell your son?
That's right.
But anyway, it's just one of those things, man.
Man, I could talk to you for
hours.
So one last question on the business side. So because you're involved in so much stuff, and I know you're going to keep it real with everything, what do you tell people that want to get into business for themselves right now, whether small business or big business or scaling, whatever the situation is, because you're involved in so many different industries? What do you tell that person that's listening?
All right, so you have some good ones. I hate to be long. I know, man, it's not a yes or no, and that's the thing, people. Right? It's not a yes or no. So the first thing is, let's start from the beginning. I tell people to start young. So I knew I was this person at 17 years old, but my mama said, man, go get a job. You got to do this, you got to do that. I knew I was the same person at 17. I was the same person, probably younger. Why I say start early? At that age, you ain't got no car insurance. You ain't got a mortgage. You ain't got no kids. You ain't got wife. Even if it doesn't work. And I knew I wanted to hustle or be an entrepreneur before 17. But let's just say 17. Don't work. Okay, I do 2 years. I'm 19. I'm not 45. I'm not 50. You know what I'm saying? I don't have kids, a wife, a mortgage, a car note, or quite frankly, a lifestyle that I've been accustomed to that I don't want to swallow my pride. I'm 17.
Or my wife's been accustomed to.
Correct, 100%. Or kids, or anybody. So that's one. Start early. If you feel it in your gut ain't going to change. It's the same. 17, 37 is still going to be this itch that you can't scratch. That's one. Two, find something that you love. Now, so for me, I love the whole process. Like I'm a person who I used to change cleats at halftime. I played offensive line. I got a visor and gloves. I'm like, Dion offensive line. I love, I just love how I tackled you or how I did it. So I'm just a different animal where I just love the process and the grind. But some people are like, no, I only love, Japanese restaurants. I went to Japan. I only want to do that. Oh, I only love tacos. Like some people are very almost case by case driven. They just love this entity and that's what they want to do. Or that's something they always, they went to
comfort zone.
Right. And they're so passionate about one particular thing. They always wanted to open a winery, but if you tell them to open a liquor store, they don't know how to do it. So it's different. They wanted a winery, they didn't want a liquor store, right? So you have hustlers like that. Then you have certain people that are basically what I call buying a job. That's the franchise model. You buy a Subway. If you only have one Subway, you're pretty much buying a job. And there's nothing wrong with that. but it's not, it's not a co-founder.
Mm-hmm.
There's different levels to hustle. And you got to ask yourself that as a business person before you get into this. Do I want to be Quincy Jones, or do I want to just be, I got a couple different locations, and there's nothing wrong with that, but am I buying a corporate job?
Mm-hmm.
If I own one Chick-fil-A, you're going to make the same thing you would make kind of in a corporate salary.
Yep.
And then the last thing is there has to be either you love the entity or you love the thing, because it's going to try you so many different ways where you have to just understand that correct when you go into this. Like, this is what I signed up for. Like I tell people, it's what you prayed for. Like, so you can't pray for something and you get it. You're like, well, damn, God, I know it's going to be like, well, this is what you asked for, so you got to come with it. So it's those things. Start early, then decide what do you want to be. I tell everybody 5-year plan, work backwards. Where do you want to be? And then now break that down even more. Is it just I'm passionate about this? Or am I, the Jay-Z quote, I'm a businessman, I'm not a businessman. Like, am I trying to own multiple entities, or do I just want my little thing? So, that would be my advice. Do that first.
Yeah.
And then after that, we off to the races.
Get some people to think, really think, man. So when you're not eating at your restaurant, I want to know, because you know good food, man.
Correct.
We always ask everybody about best restaurants in Vegas. What's your favorite restaurant in Vegas?
So my favorite restaurant in Vegas, man, is actually just an old spot called Piero's. And if I'm not pronouncing it right, I'm right. So I already know.
Our
so that's my
right
spot.
Before this just said Piero's also.
So that's my spot, and I wouldn't know.
Italian food is
so
excellent.
that's my spot. Why I like it is intimate.
Yeah. Good service there too.
Yeah, they do. And I'm old school. Like I respect Yelp, and obviously all our restaurants and platforms are on Yelp. But I'm big, man. Like, if you Chris said, man, this spot is on point. I will go against a bad Yelp review, because as a restaurant owner, I understand what that feels like. Somebody might just be mad that day. I do like, I'm from Florida, so I love the Miami effect. To pull up, you see the whip, the valet. Yeah, I like it's a little dark, so if you're in there, if you're in there, you're supposed to be in there. Ain't nobody gonna know. I just a lot of things I like.
Check that out.
Good portions. You can share.
Yeah.
My
kids love Piero's.
You always gonna have a doggy bag. Yeah. And the service is on point, man. And like I said, I rate that garbage Caesar salad. I love. That's my go-to. And then obviously the veal parmesan.
That's what's up.
Try that out. That's 2 in a row. I feel like that's a sign.
Yeah, that's 100%. I've been going there for a minute, man. I don't even know what else to ask you, man. What do you want to leave us on, man? Because you got a great mind.
Yeah,
man.
from the business standpoint, I feel like the only other thing I probably would recommend, or just some different things, or like tidbits or tips, is, I call entrepreneurship Jumanji. So anybody watches that favorite movie, the Robin Williams movie Jumanji, and that's basically what it is, man. So just knowing what you sign up for. So why I laugh or smiling is, in Jumanji, as soon as they beat the monkeys, here go the bees. As soon as they beat the bees, here go the snakes. As soon as they beat the snakes, here goes the floods.
Always coming at you.
And that's it. And you have to stay even keel. You got to be stoic, and you got to be prepared for it, because as a leader, especially that co-founder level, if you don't believe, if you come up short, right, you never know who's looking, man. So you just have to understand that that's the level to it. But if you're dealing with that type of pressure, then that means you can handle it, or at least you've been chosen to do that. So that's kind of what I like. And then I think, we talked about offline, but like, it's almost like these 3 different individuals kind of describe me. First is the Get Rich or Die Trying, that famous movie with 50 Cent. Like, that's my mentality, right? Like, like I'm whatever it takes to get through. And then the next person is Quincy Jones. If these different documentaries y'all can watch, and it's important for people to have a mentor, even if you don't know this person. Have a roadmap of somebody to look up to.
A mentor you from a
like
distance.
you from the Shy. I'm a big Jordan person, right? So you just have to, even if you don't know these people personally, you have kind of a benchmark that you want to strive to. But Quincy Jones is another one, man. Michael was still record music before Thriller, but Quincy took Thriller to the next level. And another person I really from afar look up to was Clarence Avant, or Avant. They pronounce him the Black Godfather, but somebody who was just a connector. And
he just passed away, right?
He did.
Yeah.
And why I love him, his story or his mindset is everything is not transactional. Like, I'm gonna be blessed regardless. Like, people are, damn, Zach, you get away 300 free hats? And I did, but that's why I'm on ESPN every day. So that's the thing. Everybody is tit for tat, or like they don't want to do nothing. It's like they don't want to move unless they know you gonna move, and this and that. And like it's too short sighted, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with always looking for an ROI, but I call it ROR, return on relationship. So the stuff I got, money came by. I got people and stuff that right, and so that's the key part where it will be a transaction. It will be you will get an ROI. But if you go into it so short-sighted, where everything is tit for tat, and I know that's tough for a lot of entrepreneurs in the beginning, because funding is an issue, cash flow is an issue. So you're like, damn, this hat costs $15. Can I really send that to Tom Brady? Is he really going to get it? what happens if he don't get it? Well, what happens if he does get it?
Mhm.
So that's the thing, man. You're going to have to know that. So from the business side, that's what I want. I mean, personal, we go a whole nother show.
Yeah.
But that's the
part two with you. Part
Yeah,
two,
for
three,
sure.
four,
from a
five,
personal
six,
standpoint, from
Yeah.
business standpoint, that's it.
That's what's up, man. You got a great mind, man.
Yeah,
And,
very business, very
yeah.
good,
It's-
great business mind.
The only thing I would
100%.
say from a personal standpoint is just understanding what it's going to cost you. So we say in business, the cost of doing business, that's the business analogy. Or we say, you pay for your tuition. Like I didn't go to Wharton School of Business. I paid, like you talk about Swiss paid, what he paid for Harvard. Let me tell you what I paid. What's Harvard, 150?
I don't even know what
Let's
it
just
is.
say, let's just say it's 150.
I know my son wants to go there.
Right,
so
but
yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. But like, School of Hard Knocks, I paid over $600,000 the last couple of years just to get residency popping. So I paid a Harvard tuition. Now, I don't have the degree on the wall or this and that, but we call it in business. We paid for these losses. We paid. How did I meet my co-founder of residency? I met him at a store where my manager was stealing. How much did he steal that day? How much did that cost me because I couldn't go to my other store? Like, quantify that.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like, you pay for your
Overpay.
tuition 100%,
Overpay, yeah.
and you're still paying. That's on the money side. On the business side, on the personal side, it's one of those things. Boss get paid last. That's just the money, and then the time away from your family, maybe not having a family.
Yeah.
These sacrifices that you constantly have to make on a day-to-day basis, especially in those early years. Now, if you 15, 20 years in the game, some of these things have kind of level set. Or at least you understand.
System, yeah, the
right?
system in place.
At least you understand this is what I got to do. You become better, kind of self-reflecting as to what to do, not to do. But in the early years, man, it's a toll to pay. And a lot of people that go along the road with you, they didn't sign up for that. You said you want to get rich or die trying. I said I wanted the Mercedes to get my nails done.
Yeah.
Like I ain't signed up for, I ain't that crazy. I'm not really a co-founder. I'm just your wife or sister or mama, right?
Yeah.
Right? They want the lifestyle of it. But when it really comes down to it, I don't want to really, have to sacrifice. This ain't what I signed up for. And so many entrepreneurs are constantly growing where that spouse or that partner or that mama or that child, I met you on day one, day 87. I don't know this person. This ain't,
No,
this
you
ain't the
changed,
person.
they
This
didn't grow with
right,
you.
right. And it's not their fault because they don't have the pressures to make them grow.
You 100%.
So that's the personal side. Just understand those are some hard conversations and hurtful conversations, but that's the reality of it, man.
You real with it.
Yeah,
So,
that's the reality.
man, keep doing what you're doing. We
Thank
will
you,
support
sir.
everything
Yes,
you
thank
do,
you, fam.
man. What's the social handles people can reach
So
out
yeah,
on?
obviously King Size is my personal Instagram, and King Size, even my last name is King, but all I'm trying to do is just uplift. Like that zero to hero, like you come in small, but I'm just trying to maximize you. I'm trying to blow you up. And then residency with the 3, obviously for the hats. I'll send a link. All the restaurants, I'll be here all day. But yeah, that's them. And then obviously Woormz is that my candy company WWORMZ. So that's it on that side. And like I said, I appreciate what y'all are doing. Because
Thank you,
very few, obviously, you in Vegas, putting on for the city, spotlighting people, really giving true stories of how to do it. It's so much of social media now is a facade, and if you fall into that trap, you really won't get the nitty gritty of what it takes. And I like how y'all are showing both sides of it, and quite frankly, different scales. Everybody don't own a casino, everybody don't own whatever. It's different levels of it, and I think that's the thing when you ask me about what advice, not being ashamed. Like I used to tell my ex-father-in-law, I used to tell him, he's Hispanic, I say, yo, I just sell que vender 3 gorras cada día. Like I just want to sell 3 hats a day. And he looked at me like I was crazy. Now I look at him like he crazy. So it's like 3 hats a day. I knew that was $100 a day. I knew that was $3,000 a month. I knew that was $36,000 a year. I knew 3 people would tell 9 would tell 27.
It adds up.
It adds up. But when I told him I just want to sell 3 hats a day,
you didn't get it.
You crazy. No shit.
Yeah.
Because you got to be a little crazy to have that type of vision. So that's the thing. People are so embarrassed, like, damn, somebody going to see me pedaling. Or, all right, they see it now. Yeah. And I had the same thing on my mama. Thought I was crazy. But when Derek Carr put that hat on, mama's baby. Yeah. Mama's baby. I knew you were. It wasn't mama's baby when I, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, mama.
Yeah.
You know, be real. I love you to death, mama.
Yeah.
But let's call a spade a spade. Like, you weren't this supportive. On day one. Yeah. But anyway, you really just have that undeniable faith.
You've been very good at betting on yourself.
You have to, dog. That's all you got.
And that's what I got out of it. And
you
like my motivation in the back of my mind, man, of things that you're going, because you just keep going.
Because that's all you can control. Because think about it. If you know what you're going to do to you, you can control that variable, right? And it's not to say it's easy, but you know you can control that. And then the other thing, too, and I'll leave you out with this, is the infant stage of a business. I call it like a baby, right? In the beginning of if you have a child, you're obviously a father. Yep. You're not going to leave your 6-month-old son with somebody who you don't know. It's like an infant stage.
I still don't do it now.
Right? You got to nurture, right? But when you get 26, all right, bro.
Yeah, it's different.
Now, I'm on now.
That's different.
Right? It's different. So it's the same thing in the business. It's the infant stage. We're calling the baby. We're nurturing the baby. We holding the baby. We rocking the baby. I'm leaving the baby for an hour. I'm somebody I trust is going to supervise the baby. But that's how we get it. That's how that foundation is so solid so we can scale. Yeah. And it's the same thing in the business. And people just have to understand that. So anyway, I'll leave y'all with that, man.
Got some gems,
I appreciate y'all, man.
Yeah, check us out at thevegascircle.com, man. That was powerful,
yes,
man.
100%. I appreciate y'all, man.
That's good stuff, man.